Hi, I'm Sarah Wilder, and I'm the Internet Sales Manager here at BMW of South Atlanta. Tonight, you can expect riveting conversation, networking, and fascinating tips from all of our incredible entrepreneurs here tonight.
Hi, my name is Misha, and I'm the Loaner Coordinator at BMW South Atlanta. We hope you are all excited about the What Drives Her panel.
Hey BMW family, my name is Nasita, BMW Product Specialist here at BMW of South Atlanta, and the women at BMW of South Atlanta would like to welcome you to the What Drives Her panel discussion. Hey BMW family, my name is Nasita, BMW Product Specialist here at BMW of South Atlanta. However, today I am your host for the VIP experience. We are live here at BMW of South Atlanta for the What Drives Her panel discussion. I would like to welcome our live guests and our virtual guests as well. Today, these women will share their stories of their ups and downs, their sacrifices, and their achievements along their journey. So stay tuned for professionals, entrepreneurs, and businesswomen.
I am Dina Marto. I am the co-founder of C&D The Agency, and I have been in the music business for over 20 years. What separates myself from other entrepreneurs is that I am willing to take risks.
That's how you do it. That's how you drive a BMW.
And I'm willing to fail and fail fast. And when I do make a mistake or if something doesn't go as planned, I get right back up. I'm very resilient and I just keep pushing along. If you do it in a great way, then that's what's going to excel you to the next level and the next level.
W.
Good morning. It's good to see you. What can I help you with?
My name is Kiana Watson. I am an entrepreneur here in the Metro Atlanta area. I'm originally born and raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina, a very small military town. What got me here was I was focused on building something bigger than myself. I wanted to, the same people that I looked at and I looked up to when I came here from that small town, and that's the first time I saw bossy women, and I'm like, I need to tap into that. I don't want to be defined by selling real estate. I don't want to be defined by owning a real estate firm. I don't want to be defined by training other real estate agents. I want to be defined by being an entrepreneur because you scale your business and there are life cycles to your business, right? Any young woman that wants to be an entrepreneur, the best piece of advice I'm going to give you is there are no shortcuts to success. You are going to have to take the stairs, but recognize that you fail forward. Most people are so afraid to take the first step because they're afraid of failure. I have failed many times. I consider myself the everyday working woman, right? I get up, I go to work, I close my deals, I do what everyday people do. Like, I'm not a model, I'm not doing these things. And so for them to say, I see you and I see I see your commitment to what you're doing, but also what you are contributing to the culture here in Atlanta, that felt good.
Driving a BMW M5 is not even a car. It's a machine. Hi, my name is Dice Dixon and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I work behind the scenes in reality TV as a segment producer, but I'm also an entrepreneur with my own clothing line, Roll the Dice Clothing. What makes me different from other entrepreneurs is I have a strong support system and I don't take no for an answer. Anytime somebody tells me no, it motivates me even more to keep going and accomplish my goal. My advice I would give to young women looking to become entrepreneurs is never give up. I know it may seem like this is a man's world, but there's definitely room for women to be their own bosses.
just want to say thank you guys for coming out to What Drives Her panel. Y'all are out in the sun, getting that tan that we missed last year. Can I get an amen? Amen. Yes, God. All right. Well, I'm super excited. I'm your host, your moderator for the afternoon, Anissa Brene. Say hey, AB. Yes, perfect. You're getting it. Okay, cool. So we have some dope women about to come to the stage right now. Cara Chin, Kimberly Byers, Dina Marteau, Dice Dixon, Michelle Taylor Willis, Kiana Watson, and Chiaki Jones. Are y'all ready? I'm so excited. All right, so without further ado, welcome to the What Drives Her panel, hosted by BMW. Ladies, I need y'all to come to the stage. I need y'all to give them energy, record them, tag them.
My name is Dice Dixon. I work in TV production, and I'm also an entrepreneur. I have my own clothing line.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cara Chin. I'm actually here representing the fashion space, and I'm probably the only one that can see you guys. So, you know. My clothing line is called A19. That's A19 brand on Instagram.com.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chiaki Jones, and I'm the head of creative industries at Invest Atlanta.
Let's just hit the beginning. What was the reason why you said yes to your particular industry? Chiaki, I'm going to start with you, only because Invest Atlanta is so big, and for me, a lot of people don't know that much about it. So what made you say yes to this industry?
So actually, Invest Atlanta said yes to me. So I actually started at Invest Atlanta as the legal assistant for the legal team, and once I learned more about what Invest Atlanta does and all of the things they were doing in the community, I wanted a role that was more community facing, and so I started doing things in entertainment on the side in addition to my role. So that's how I met a lot of the people here on this stage, and Invest Atlanta caught word to the work that I was doing, and we were starting to be more present in places that we weren't, and they created my role. So I am the first program manager of creative industries at Invest Atlanta. So that's what drove me. It's like I always want to be in a position where I'm helping other people achieve their dreams. And through my role, I was able to do that. So.
Yes. Kiana, I'm going to toss the same question to you because I feel like a lot of the conversation right now is people are into buying properties, people are into flipping houses, just want to really get into real estate. So what made you say yes to this industry even before it got popping?
I'll say what made me say yes to real estate is because I realized that it was the fastest way to change the trajectory of my life. I saw so many positive images of people in the real estate industry, and they were able to fully be themselves and still make a living. So I came from a corporate background when I was working in property management I'm like, I want to do real estate full time, and I really love that there is no barriers, there's no ceilings. You know, you can wake up every day and decide how you want to run your business, how much money you want to make, how many families you want to assist. It's truly up to you, and it's just about your mindset and being determined. And I really love the flexibility of the industry because, you know, who wants to sit in a cubicle? You know, who does? So it really was. It was really a great industry for me to get into. So that's what drove me into it. Just the freedom to decide how successful I want to be in my own right.
Now, question, how many women up here are in the corporate space? 1, 2, 3. And everybody else is entrepreneurs. How many entrepreneurs do we have out in the audience? And how many do we have work a corporate job at the same time? Now, me personally, that's a conversation a lot of people don't have, is you can still work a regular job and do your dream at the same time and fund them both. So coming from corporate, I do want to talk to you a little bit about that. Tell me a little bit about your position, and then I'm going to toss it over to Cara and Dice to talk a little bit about the entrepreneurial side, and then I'll chime in at the end.
So as I stated, my position, I'm the sales and marketing manager for BMW Corporate. So we're based out of New Jersey with an office in Greer, South Carolina. And I'm originally from the upstate of Gaffney, South Carolina. If you've seen the Peach when you're on 85, that's where I'm from. So, there we have an office, a very small office across the street from the plant. And there are 10 me's. And there are only 2 female me's in this southern region. I cover the Tennessee and Alabama stores. So I go into stores and I'm basically their liaison to the factory. So I will talk to a GM like Mr. Robert Fowler there, our GM here of our host, South Atlanta, and we would talk about what are your plans? What's your marketing plan? My undergrad is in marketing. So we're talking about here's your objective in new cars, pre-owned, and service parts. Here's your objective. How are we going to get there? How can I help you get there? So that's my day-to-day.
So from getting to point A to point B, because that's what Miss Kim does. Well, let's talk about being an entrepreneur. A lot of people think, okay, well, if I have a business and it's not working, then maybe I need to go rebrand. Maybe that's not what we need to do. Maybe we need to sit with it a little bit longer. You just never know. So talk a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and just how you got here where you are now.
So actually, before I started my brand, I actually worked for the city of Atlanta in the mayor's office, and that's actually how I met Shiaki. So I say that to say, when you ask the question of who is an entrepreneur and still working in the corporate space, I think it's important to know that being an entrepreneur is not about, it is a risk, but it's not about just jumping off and saying, okay, I'm going to quit my job and I'm just going to be an entrepreneur. You have to slow grind it and build it. And I think that to your point, when you talk about tenacity, a lot of people give up really fast. I've quit my brand probably like 20 times. And I have my village that keeps saying, no, it's so good. And then I'll turn around and someone will reach out to me with recognition. I'm like, see, that's why I didn't quit. So you have to use constant positive affirmations and reminders for yourself to not give up, because as an entrepreneur, you are the boss and then you also are a worker. So you have to actually motivate yourself, you know?
Y'all felt that? Yes. Okay. Y'all taking notes? Yes. Okay, quote them later. Make sure you tag them. Dice, so in the TV and production industry, talk a little bit about that. I have some friends who are trying to break down those doors, and unless you're in with the right people, then it's hard to get into that space. So first, let's start with, how did you get there? I'm sure many of us are familiar with you from the TV space, but I just want to know what made you start there.
So for me, that was not supposed to be my path or my journey in life. Like, I was in school, I went to grad school, I had my master's in OSHA, occupational safety and health, so it has nothing to do with what I'm doing. I tell Navion all the time, y'all could come get this degree, like, keep them student loans. It's framed and everything. But so how I did get into it was like by default, you know what I'm saying? Because my cousin is Lala Anthony, and at the time when she was getting married to her husband, Carmelo Anthony, they started a reality show, Full Court Life. So it wasn't even I didn't have like a say-so. My cousin was like, you're in my wedding, we're doing a TV show, you're on it, and that's it. I'm like, wait, what? Like, that's not even my personality. So just with doing the show, then we had like a little break. We didn't think the show was going to come back. Then I went back to school. So I was in grad school. Then the show came back. So I was juggling both, like flying back and forth. I went to school in North Carolina. So I was in North Carolina, flying to New York to film, flying back, flying to LA to film, flying back. And then when all that was over and I got out of grad school, I just didn't want to, unfortunately, work in OSHA. I enjoyed the TV world, the production life and all that, and I wanted to get into that and be behind the scenes and, you know, ultimately like produce my own shows and do things of the such. So, you know how they do say in life is a lot of times it's not what you know, it's who you know. So just because I made a lot of relationships with a lot of the production people while I was in front of the camera, and then just being who my cousin is, I was able to kind of segue in a little bit more easier. But in the production world, my name does speak for itself, because I feel like I have to grind even harder, because I don't want anybody to give me any type of free ride because of who my family is. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's a little bit more tougher for me, but I've been in the industry for a while now where I have built, you know, my own reputation for my name, and, you know, people reach out to me now because they know my work ethic and things of that nature. So sometimes in life we feel like our life is supposed to be this and we're on this path and things happen, so you have to like kind of roll with it, you know what I'm saying, and keep your mind open and, you know, you'd be surprised what God has in store for you. We might think it's this, but it's really over here.
I think you made a really great point too, and it's actually a great segue for me is the plan that we think we have for ourselves isn't always the plan that's right in front of us. And so knowing a little bit about your background and Dina having followed you for Lord knows how long, was this always the plan for you, Michelle, and you, Dina? I'm going to let Michelle kick it off first. And if not, then what was the original plan that made you pivot to where you are now?
No, this was not the plan. I had no idea I would own a media company. I had no idea I would be on TV. And that was not the plan at all. I started off in corporate. I mean, I worked for, Johnson & Johnson, Ferguson Enterprises. I built my name as a sales leader, trainer, top sales rep for years. I mean, I've been all around just on sales awards, right? And so I knew at some point I was going to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know what that would look like. So I had just probably like everybody. I mean, I was a sales rep, and I had like a resume building business, and then I had because people wanted to get in pharmaceutical sales, right? So I was like, oh, I can teach you that. And then we had a business teaching people how to get into pharmaceutical sales. And I had an online bakery where I was like baking my own stuff. And I think the website is still live, actually. I don't even know that we disengaged the website. But I knew what that would look like. And my transition from corporate, and I tell people this all the time because I've trained tons of entrepreneurs and built million-dollar business models for people. And one of the big things that people do when they leave that corporate space is, to Kara's point, they're like, I'm sick, I'm done, I'm not working for the man anymore, and I'm about to throw some stuff on the wall and see what sticks. Absolutely the wrong way to do it. Be intentional. Does everybody save at home? Do you save personally? Okay, so you should save for your business. So before you jump out, know your overhead, know what your budget is, know what your expenses are. Have 6 months saved so that you can run your business, because it's probably going to be 6 to 12 months before anybody buys anything from you, right? So I spent the time doing all of those things, and then that was when my husband and I decided to go full scale into entrepreneurship. And I thought I was going to be in medical. I was building medical practices. I built medical practices up and down the Eastern Seaboard, and that's what I did. And somebody called me one day and said, hey, there's a magazine for sale. Do you want to buy it? I was like, what I look like selling ads? Hey, I'll set up your medical practice and want to buy an ad in a magazine? Like who does that? And then when I did the numbers, I was like, this is crazy. And my business partner that I bought the magazine with, which you probably know and love affectionately as Soul Food Lifestyle Magazine, right? Everybody knows South Food Lifestyle Magazine, yes. He said, this is the magazine that's going to change your life. This is going to make you a national personality if you just buy the magazine and do what I tell you. And I did. And we went from the magazine to selling ads on radio show. And what we do is we create our own content and we sell ads against the content. So no one tells me what show I'm doing, how I'm doing. I tell my team every day, we sell ads and we build content to sell ads. That's what we do. And we just kept getting opportunities. And before you knew it, it's 6 years later and people are like, aren't you on YouTube? And I'm like, yeah, how'd you know? I had no idea. But once I realized that my passion and my purpose had been fulfilled, because I know what my legacy play is. I know what the end looks like for me, so I reverse engineer. I start from the back, and I do everything to back up to this moment. I don't start from this moment to end at the end, right? So when you know what your legacy play is, you know why you're here, you know what you're supposed to do, it's very easy to push forward and not give up, Kara, and to not, to pivot 35 times before you land, because your purpose and your passion and the reason God put you on the earth should dictate how you move. And once you find a way to monetize that, you surround yourself with people who are smarter than you in ways that you aren't, and you execute upon it, the world's your oyster.
Okay, Dina, I want to look, I forgot the question.
That was great. I love everything you just said. That was amazing.
Yeah. So, okay, was this always the path?
Okay.
What was it? How do we get here?
Well, I would have to say that I've always wanted to be in music. Music has been my passion and my love. So that's a blessing, because a lot of people don't really find their passion and what they're really good at till later in life. So I always knew I wanted to do that. But I started off wanting to be a singer-songwriter. and then that switched very quickly once I got in the industry and realized, no, that's not the path for me.
But wait, what was your first song, though? What was the first one you wrote, Dina? What was it called?
I can't even, let's not go here today. Y'all don't want to hear about this. I had good songs. I will say that I was actually a good songwriter. But what happened was I got in the industry and I realized there are other things that you can do. Like, people always see the person on the TV screen and they don't ever see the team of people that help them get there. And so doors started opening up for me on the business side. So when I switched over to the business side, because I'm like, I'm going to roll with what the universe is kind of presenting for me, right? And go with these doors that are opening for me that are easier on that journey. And so what I did is I started working the business side of the business, and I never looked back to the creative side. But I help creatives all the time. That's what I do. So I am an entrepreneur by heart. I started my first business at the age of 19 in college. I had a PR firm, and I built my relationships, and that's how I got handpicked and hired to work with L.A. Reid at Island Def Jam when I was just 21 and Jay-Z was president. And I was there in the A&R department for 6 years, and then I left again. And I have to say this too, before you just jump back out there and become an entrepreneur, you have to serve before you can lead. So I went into a big corporation with Universal Music Group. I got to see how a major record label worked and what you have to do. And then I went out on my own with all my relationships and all my expertise and my skills. And then I built 12 Music and Studios, where I built a recording studio. I started doing artist development and talent management, and I owned and operated that for 7 years. So I just have to say, entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and that's okay. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, but if you're going to be one, just know you have to eat what you kill, period. Everything falls on you. So if you have a team of people and you delegate a task and it doesn't happen, guess what? You still have to pick up those pieces and keep it moving. So I just want people to know that it's a lot tougher than it looks. We kind of make it like, sometimes when you see people, it looks like an overnight success, and it's not. And it takes a lot of vision. It takes some money risks. And it takes a lot of persistence and resilience, really.
Great answer. I'm glad that you mentioned that piece about it looks like an overnight success, because social media has really killed a lot of people's self-esteem, because a post that's up for 24 hours, even something on your story, it just makes people feel like they're so far behind. And if I'm being very honest, I've been that person. I am that person sometimes. If we're being honest with ourselves, how many people feel like they've been there or they are there? So for you guys on the stage, I know we're in the space where we have to constantly come up with new ideas. So where do you guys pull from? Whether it's working on selling your next house or trying to figure out something for your business, or even Dina, you just said doing 12 Music Group. You did that for 7 years, owned and operated. Coming up with new ideas, staying spicy, saying what's on the scene. Where do you guys pull from? Because I feel like so many of us look to you all for inspiration. So anybody who wants to take that.
I would just say that I pull from the youth. I like to always keep myself surrounded by younger people who are in tune with what's going on, and then the mentorship aspect. So I just started C&D, the agency, last year, and our whole point of that agency is for me to mentor the next generation of women leaders. So I get ideas and I get inspiration from working with those young women and just being side by side, because you got to stay fresh and you have to see what's going on in the world, because as you get older, things change and your perspective changes, and you have to kind of see what's going on.
So wait, it's safe to say you might not feel like making that TikTok that day, but you're going to make that TikTok.
I haven't done TikTok yet. I'll say that's one thing, but you can find me on Instagram.
I might not want to come up with a caption,
right?
But I'm going to post it.
I'm on there.
I really love looking at a lot of fashion design, like Cara, people that are promoting their businesses differently than the average realtor. So as I started to promote my real estate business and my real estate firm, I was thinking more or less about the next generation. You know, we know that 33% of the new buyers are millennials, so we're no longer buying and selling real estate how we used to back in the day. You know, we're going to need new ways to engage, new ways to keep them informed. And I really look to other industries. So I kind of stopped looking into the real estate industry for inspiration, because I feel like a lot of that was dated we weren't really talking to the right people. So I started to look at YouTube channels, the beauty industry, the fashion industry, and I'm like, wait a minute. That works for them, so let me try this over here, put a little fashion in it and then give you some information in the middle, and it really does work. So I think that what we have to do is realize that old ways will not open new doors. And if we're used to doing something one way, and in our mindsets that's the only way to do something, you'll never grow. And you're going to find yourself stagnant because technology is getting ahead of us. Like I said, millennials are taking over. They are the ones buying and selling. So how can you speak to that audience? I think we need to study them, become more engaged with them, and look to other industries and not always look within your own industry. Use that as inspiration. And I'm all about just sometimes, every once in a while, you just got to do something that not all press is bad press is good press, but just throw something spicy out there and just see how everybody reacts. They're going to say something.
I would just agree with what you both said. And the other thing I would add to that is that, and I said this earlier, hire to your weaknesses and hire diversity, not just in race, creed, color, age, but in thought, because those are the people that will inspire you. And find the people that believe in your vision, because that's the inspiration sometimes doesn't come from you. It's from the people that are around you that believe as much and sometimes more than you that it can happen. Because I think, Cara, you said earlier, positive affirmations, and just like you talk yourself out of something, you can talk yourself into it. You can talk yourself out of being the best, and you can talk yourself right back into being the best through tears in the mirror and everything. And so the inspiration doesn't, I think we get so consistently bogged down in what we think we have to do. But that's why business ownership is a great thing. And entrepreneurship is a great thing because there's a scaling component. So if you want to be in business by yourself forever, you can absolutely do that. But if you want to be a business owner and you want to have an enterprise, then you need to scale. And that scaling looks like bringing people alongside of you that believe in you and that are smarter than you in ways that you are not, and think completely differently, so that when you go, the real estate industry is doing this, what are we going to do differently? That millennial is going to go, hey, Michelle, guess what? That don't work anymore. Here's what we're going to do. And you're going to be like, okay. My team told me to start wearing scarves the other day, so I was like, all right, whatever y'all say, that's fine. They're like, no more scarves on the radio. I'm like, okay, fine. So
I think you said a few things there that were super important. It's having a team or knowing when to scale. And then earlier you mentioned saving. I think another thing that you also said was ownership. And I don't think we take that into account when we're budgeting is you need to own your stuff. Just like you want to own your house, you want to own your whip, make sure y'all check out these BMWs, plug.
Yes.
You want to have your affairs in order. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. Now, Ms. Kim, I do have a question for you.
Sure.
What are 2 things you would tell your younger self about getting into the industry you're in and in order to sustain, so being here the amount of time that you've been in corporate?
So I would tell my younger self, slow down and enjoy the ride. In both professional and my personal life, I've been with BMW 22, 23 years. I've lost count. I would have never thought that this would have been my path. I just wanted to be the receptionist when they opened a new building. I was like, I'll be the receptionist for BMW, life will be fine. I will also tell myself, don't limit yourself, because in my thought process, I'm a female, I'll be best suited as a receptionist, but God saw differently from me. They put me in a role that I knew nothing about and trained me. So slow down, do not limit your imagination, truly reach for the stars. As much a cliche as it is, reach for the stars and think big. And that's what I would tell my younger self. Slow down.
That sounds good, doesn't it? Everybody, Cara, you're a mother, and I know we have mothers and aunties up here, correct? Yes, I'm an auntie. I have no children. But you're a mother. Let's talk a little bit about balance, because I'm sure a lot of people want to know, well, my kid is homeschooling right now. I just had a kid, or, I have this business and I have this other thing on the side. So what does balance look like for you? in a season of pivoting?
So I only have one child, so it's kind of easy for me, I guess. And it's a boy, so he's not needy at all. I think I need him more than he needs me sometimes. So for me, I just try to pay attention to my faith and my body. I can tell when I'm being overwhelmed or overworked, or when I'm giving too much attention to work, relationship, motherhood, etc. I can feel it. And I always just revert back to my time alone with God, and I talk to him and say, give me the discernment to know where to focus more energy and to take away less, energy like that. But really, for me, I don't know. It just balances itself. I don't know.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is taking time to reflect and feeling your body. Like, your body tells you exactly what you need.
Also, I was going to say, and this is kind of going back a few questions when we were talking about inspiration. I agree with Kiana's point. We are all inspired by one another and each other. But also, in addition to interpreting how that inspiration works for you in your industry, I also take social media breaks where I allow myself to not be inspired by anyone and be inspired by myself, because I think that's important too, because you can go out here and make something and it looks like someone else's item and you didn't realize that you saw that before. You get what I'm saying? It's like playing over in your mind. You have to give your mind a break from social media and constant inspiration, and kind of inspire yourself and be alone in your thoughts and figure out how does this meme or this quote or this trend work for my industry, and then come back to social media refreshed. And I think that's part of balance too, is always taking time to refresh yourself so that you're at your constant best self.
So y'all ready for some fun questions? Y'all ready for some fun questions? Okay, so it's no secret we've all been in a series of a BMW, okay? So I got to know first, what is everybody's favorite car they've driven so far or have yet to drive? Y'all remember the number?
Major features I really did enjoy. It parked and it parallel parked for me. Hands up. At first I was paranoid. I felt like I was on a roller coaster. Then I got really used to it, and I'm starting to look at my car like, wait a minute. So I really enjoyed that it parked itself. And another feature was when you tell, especially, in any industry or anything, but we're really a lot on the road as real estate professionals, in and out of houses, driving city to city. And so you have this feature when you can say, I'm feeling stressed, and it literally dims down the lights, the AC blows, and then some type of music comes on, and I'm like, wait a minute.
What car is this?
Girl,
I enjoyed that.
in the car.
So
She's trying to sell me an S7. She's like, yes.
Listen, those are the two features I would say I really enjoyed, and I definitely drove that car the whole 2 weeks I had it once I found those two features. So I think they're amazing.
Favorite features is the sport mode. It really gets up. And then also, you can turn the music up with your finger, skip the song with your hand.
I see Jaws on the floor right now. I'm like, okay, I'm stuck too.
Wait a minute. Cara had the drop top, and they made that thing look very, very sexy. I don't know what I don't know what else it came with, but it just looked good.
Yeah, I had the convertible 8 Series, and I've actually been a BMW driver for probably over 10 years. And I've always I've had 3 Series when I started and stuff, but I've always pretty much, since I had my son, had a SUV. So this car was fun. It was sexy. It went with all my outfits.
When the car matches the fits, I'm not there yet. I'm almost there. Dice, you got one?
Yeah, my favorite was the M5 competition. So that one, if you're looking for sporty, speed, damn near kill yourself. Listen, the M5, that's not a car, it's a machine. That was just a different type of vehicle. It's an experience. You know what I'm saying? Plus, with the sporty, with the horsepower and all that, then it was still gave you the luxury with the interior, the features. It had the thing, where you could the volume and skip songs and stuff like that. The screen said "Welcome Dice." I mean, it just made me feel at home. It was like a rocket ship on 4 wheels.
One that I drove recently that I really liked was the X5. I told him, don't give me an X6 or X7 because I'm so small. I don't know if I need all that car. But the one thing about a BMW is it's a real driving machine. You feel like you own the road when you are in a BMW. You can control it. You're like one with the road. It feels so good. It's luxury, but you can feel the road. And I feel like other luxury cars don't really have that.
I did drive the 430i. That was very nice. I think my favorite feature was the Save Your Life feature. Get my behind back in the lane, okay? And I didn't realize it was on, even though Nasita did tell me. She told me it was on. She said I could turn it off if I wanted to. I was like, no, I might need that. And got right on 85. And what happened? Get over. So that happened, and then I had a little holographic feature in the dashboard. Y'all see that? It tells you. Y'all, when you're speeding, it turns red. And it's really not even there, but it's there just enough for you to see it. I said, wow, this is nice. So yeah, y'all might get me. Y'all might. All right, I appreciate you guys so much. This was fun. Did y'all have fun? Yes. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had a really good time, and it's so great to just know that I hate going to a lot of panels because a lot of times you just listen to people talk and there's no like follow-up after. So I do encourage y'all to just slap our DMs one time, or, even stop us right here and talk for a minute, because we've been in the house for a long time, and there are a lot of people, unfortunately, that didn't make it to see this year. So if there's any bit of encouragement any of us can give you, I'm sorry, I am extending you all without asking. I hope that we all take advantage of today. So with that being said, we know what drives us. I hope that you go forward and figure out what drives you, on top of you getting in that front seat of that BMW. Okay? Do you all have questions? This is your time to shine. Or did you feel like you got your questions answered? All right.
Nobody got questions. We got the mic right here.
Feels like school. Oh, we got one.
So my question is, I believe for Cara, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right as well. So there was a mention regarding a social media cleanse and getting inspiration from yourself, which I was all for. I believe the whole room kind of lit up because we wish that we could take a social media cleanse. My question was how, especially as someone who is active on social media. You may be an influencer, you may be a content creator. Sometimes I feel bad when I pull back from social media. And honestly, I know all of you are influencers, so anyone, please feel free to offer some guidance, because I would like a cleanse.
So how is I just delete the app, and the process is they'll be all right, because you're no good to the world if you're not good to yourself. So, 3 days, even if you take a day, 24 hours, and turn everything off, it'll be exactly what it was when you get back.
And also, let me piggyback on that by stating that there are a lot of apps that will post for you, where oftentimes it may appear to be that I posted, and it may also appear to be that I am engaging, and in reality I am not posting and I am not engaging. Those are planned posts. There's an app called Later that I think is really great. There's another one called Planoly that is amazing. So if you have a business where you know you need to consistently put out content, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be the person putting out the content. At this point, social media is a business for me. It's almost like answering an email, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's me posting on that page.
And I was just going to say, just when you do turn it off and get with your real friends, just know that, like, you don't look at Instagram or whatever you're looking at these posts and be in competition with anybody else, because people are taking exactly what they want you to see. They're filtering it, they're editing it, and they're putting it up, and you don't know what the struggle is behind that. And so don't compare yourself with anybody else. Just compare yourself with yourself and how great you're doing every day, and it's better for your mental health. And just get with people, your accountability partners, and people that genuinely love and care about you, and spend time with them instead of spending time on your phone. And I think it'll be better for everybody's mental health.
Did you want
And also, just to piggyback on the rest of the ladies and what Cara was saying, sometimes it is good for a break, because if you'll notice, sometimes, and I'm guilty of it, I'll notice some days I get on Instagram and then you just go down this rabbit hole, then you look up and it's 3 hours later and you like, what? And then for me, then I feel unproductive. Like, I just been looking at this reality star, what this one's doing, how this one, and then it's just, then sometimes I'll be like, I just need to just put it down and just take a break. You know what I'm saying? So even if it's a couple of hours throughout the day, just we're all guilty of it. We just go down the rabbit hole, and then your mind is like fried, you know? So it's good to sometimes just take a good just technology break.
But I just wanted to ask, because Kiana, you come from humble beginnings like me from Fayetteville. I'm from Durham. How did you deal with, once you turned into who you are, did you or any of you experience imposter syndrome, where you feel like, I know I'm putting in the work and I deserve what's coming to me, but at the same time, it's like, dang, my cousin, my sister, my aunt, and then people start looking at me different, like, as if I'm turning my nose up, or, you know what I'm saying? So then it kind of makes me question whether or not I deserve it. Have any of you experienced it?
Okay, well, thank you so much for following my journey. I just came from Fayetteville yesterday. So I'm going to tell you this. Of course, we all experience that self-doubt, or that point where we feel like we don't deserve all these blessings that we've worked so hard for. So for me, I do a lot of affirmations. I do a lot of positive self-talk, and I block and delete anything that's negative. I do not address anything negative, and that's in my personal life, and that's also on this app and on social media. If it's negative, you will never see me address it. I'll block and delete, and I keep going. But I think what you have to realize is, like the famous words of Jay-Z, you think I did all this work to remain the same? Are you serious? People look at you like you changed, but the reality is, when you start to elevate your mind, your spirit spiritually, you start elevating your lifestyle, people around you, they actually change. It's not really you. And what you have to do is stand strong in who you are, because when you know who you are, no one can tell you who you are. And I'm very grounded. So it doesn't matter if I drive a certain car, wear a certain jewelry, or have on a certain type of eyelashes. I am who I am. And I will never allow the world to tell me who I am. And that's how I stay out of imposter syndrome. Someone this just happened today. Someone DM'd me where I know they were trying to DM my picture to someone else. It was like, look at this girl. She always looks so perfect. I'm so sick of her, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, my goodness, let me pray for you, honey. You got some demons in you. But the truth of the matter is, how other people see you is really a reflection of how they see themselves. And something in you, that light that's shining so bright, it's just really you're making them look back at themselves, and they're seeing that they're not shining their own light on them. So I don't take it too seriously, and I don't allow any of this, because it can be here today, it can be gone tomorrow, right? I remain humble. I'm approachable, and I just want to be focused on being a good person. So I'm working hard for my goals, but I'm not going to let anyone else tell me I don't deserve the things that I deserve. I don't care what that is, whether that's me having 3 cups of Starbucks a day or buying a luxury car. I did the work to do so. So I would say, to get yourself out of imposter syndrome, make sure you affirm yourself and release yourself from those shackles of believing that we don't deserve luxury. Let's normalize luxury. You guys know I always say that. We need to normalize luxury, because it is normal. And it's normal for everyone in this audience if that's what you choose for your life.
I was quoting Jay-Z. I'm going to quote somebody too.
Yes.
When they wasn't with you shooting in the gym.
What? Say it again for the people in the back. Say it again for the people in the back.
Someone said earlier, it always looks pretty on Instagram, but you don't know the work that it took to get to where you are. And you have to remind yourself that they only see the pretty pictures. They don't see the dirt. And it's not your job to explain yourself to them and what you've been through. People are either going to feel insecure or be inspired, and that's their choice. I can either put you on or I can leave you alone, but you're not going to diminish me or make me feel guilty, like Kiana said, because I set a standard for my life and I'm chasing it adamantly and living up to it. Spend less time hating on me and approach me, because I'm approachable and I'll help you. I think that as women in general, it already took a long time for us to be comfortable in our space and comfortable in ourselves and comfortable in our industry. And it's like, it's sad that we don't look at somebody and say, I remember when she was in Fayetteville. Damn, I could do this. Some people look at it like, oh, now she thinks she all that, she out of Fayetteville. It's how you're going to interpret it, but it's not my job to make you comfortable in your own skin. It's my job that if you come to me as a woman and say you want to elevate, I'm going to expand my resources to you and help elevate you.
I was just going to say, and it is unfortunate, but sometimes on our elevator ride to the top, certain floors, you got to let people off. They can't go to the penthouse. You got to let them off at 10, 11, 12, and it's okay. You can't feel bad about that.
I think confidence and understanding, recognizing your value is a practice that you have to do every day. And just know that nothing will come into your space, into your life. Like, God will not give you something that you can't handle and take on. So just know that. Like, you just have to remind yourself of that every day.
Tiana, my mantra is, if you don't understand my glory, you don't know my story. So you go into each day knowing and believing that everything you've worked hard to earn, you deserve it. So just like these ladies said, kick them to the curb. The people that are supposed to be in your circle will be in your circle. Keep your social circle close-knit.
Who is the best at what you do? How often do you tell yourself that? You do, right. But most people don't. You got to think about the things you tell yourself ridiculous amounts of information every time you screw something up. God, I can't believe that. Michelle, how could you be so stupid? Damn, why'd you say that? How could you know it had to be about BMW? You can't ask about a car question. I mean, like, right? So the thing is, to Tiana's point and Dina, it all starts and stops with confidence. And every time I speak, I start, especially when I give sales trainings, I talk about confidence. Because if you don't believe you are the best at what you do, nobody else will believe it. Nobody. So even if you screw up royally, you still have to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm the best at what I tell myself that constantly. I tell myself that especially when I screw something up. And I screw something up 10 to 20 times a day on average. Like, I'm great at it, right? But luckily, I get more right than I get wrong. But I tell myself, nobody does what I do better than me. My 50% is better than anybody's 100. Please, you want to do this? Let's do it. You can't beat me. You might be better at what you do than I am, but you should be. But you can't touch me. And positive affirmations are the pathway to that confidence, because you have to tell yourself you are who you are before you ever become that person. Stop speaking of what you're going to do. I will. I am. I told myself I had a media company when I just had a magazine. I had no idea how I was going to have a media company. Tell yourself who you are and train your children to tell themselves who they are. Don't wait. What are you waiting for? I am right now. I own a BMW dealership. I am the leading producer in the world. Right? I am the best fashion designer. My fashions are the best. I have $1 billion fashion enterprise. Like, tell yourself that stuff before it ever happens. And guess what might just happen? You might just wake up one freaking morning and have $1 billion fashion company. And you'll go, and then you'll be sitting on the stage and somebody go, how did you end up in? And you're like, well, friends, it started way back in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
And I will say, just treat yourself like that elevator. Elevators have capacities, okay? It can only fit so much. You can only handle so much of other people's stuff. So don't ever get to the point where it's like, dang, that's my cousin, they gotta stick around, because they don't. Family isn't by blood all the time. It's who you choose to have in your life. So just keep that in mind.
What is your morning routine? What do you do in the morning to get yourself going? Because a lot of us today, we want to be successful. We want to do all the right things. We want to, win big, but a lot of times we don't know how to capture our day by what we're doing in our morning times when nobody's watching us, when social media is not present. What do you ladies do that attributes to your success today in the morning?
Got my first apartment, and the couple of things I changed was I took the TV out of my bedroom, and then I make sure every morning I have enough time for it to be a slow morning, because a morning rush, then the rest of my day is fried. Because I don't want to wake up and think, dang, I got to submit this, I got to give this to my boss, or I got to go put this egg cow together for a brand. Like, that's just too much. I need to be able to stir my yogurt up, make a little parfait, make it cute. Can't just peel the lid off and eat it regular, right? I like to take my time. So I think that's probably been the most healthy move, is no TV before bed or first thing in the morning, and slow mornings.
I like to wake up with an attitude of gratitude, so I'm always very thankful when I first wake up in the morning, and that's when I do my affirmations and prayer. But I also have been practicing for some years now where I will write down at least 3 things that I'm grateful for from the day before, so I reflect on, and it's just the small things. I think when you start practicing really appreciating the small things that happen in your life, then you'll see bigger things happen and you'll have more appreciation for those too. I think we miss those small moments in our lives, so that's what I like to do in the mornings.
Hello. I'll say for me, I used to wake up and immediately check Instagram, check my emails, send things. Now, I'm very intentional about my mornings. I like to drink coffee in peace. So I make me a cup of coffee, and I'll either go out in my sunroom or on my porch. And what I like to do is I listen to affirmations. I love this. This is a podcast, Beautiful Wild Free. I listen to her affirmations almost every single day, and it's one that I may listen to 3 times a week. It is called I Am Doing Work I Love, and I'm not getting paid. This is not a promo, but it reminds me that I am doing work that I love, and I listen to that affirmation. I drink my coffee, and I sit in solitude, and I do this every morning for at least 20 minutes. Then I get my day going, because when you're in this rat race and you are thinking, you have to do all these things to be great, what I started to notice is I was becoming empty while I was chasing what I thought was my purpose, because I have all these opportunities coming. So now I fill my cup first. And I'm very strict on like making sure I'm not. I could be up at 6:45. I'm actually up 6:45 every morning. I don't know why. It's just what it is. But I'm not responding to emails and I'm not engaging with people until 9 a.m. And I give myself that time to reflect. And I think that we have to have gratitude, have a morning routine. I'm big on prayer and affirmations. It has really changed my mindset in my life, because you do have a lot of pressure being the owner or even just running a business, even being an employee. There's a lot of pressure to be successful in this world, and whatever you define that for yourself. So my morning routine definitely starts off with, like she said, I started off slow, but the affirmations every single day, every day without miss.
COVID, one thing that me and my sister and my mom used to do, we would always send like little inspiration YouTube videos to each other, mostly from Sarah Jakes. And so I would get up and I would listen to that as I'm getting ready, and then also listen to gospel music to work, just because I work in a very stressful environment. So I always try to at least walk in with a good attitude, even though it may change as soon as I hit the door. But that's what I used to do. And it helped me a lot, because I started to also keep myself in a better mood, because it's like nobody can break my joy type thing. Like I talked to God on the way here to work, and we already said what we doing today, and ain't nobody gonna stop what I'm doing today. So that's what I would say. Listen to YouTube videos, Spotify as well. Like I would listen to little things on there too.
Yeah, my morning routine is very set. I think y'all heard me say I have 4 kids, right? So I try to control as much of my life as possible. I wake up in the morning, I immediately read a Bible verse, I pray, I do some form of meditation, I get the kids to school, and then I work out. And then I structure from 8 to 12, 9 to 12, depending on how I get that first part of the morning routine done, around my one thing. I don't know, has anybody heard of the book, The One Thing? Okay, if you haven't read that book, it is life-changing. And so I figured out what my one thing is. The one thing is the thing that if you do that one thing, you will be significant. Nothing else really will matter. And what the premise of it is, we focus on all these things that we're doing that really aren't yielding us results, and then we wonder why we don't have results. But there's usually one thing that you could focus on that if you just did that, your company would grow. Your relationships would mature. And so I focus on that one thing from 8 to 12, 9 to 12, and I attempt not to deviate from that, because I know if I focus on that one thing, then the company, everything else is going to fall in line. So that's usually kind of like my morning to midday routine. Doesn't always happen perfectly like that, but that's the goal.
I have a question specifically for you, Dina. because I'm an artist as well. And so one of the things that I've been struggling with is maintaining myself to be a boss, but also trying to be an artist as well. And I know somebody said something earlier is about who you know and staying connected and getting connected. So what is one of the things that I want to focus on with myself especially is artist development, because a lot of times I'm developing other people because, you know, I believe that we gotta, you know, when you have a business, you have to, you know, make that your main priority because that's where the money comes from. But my passion and my drive to, you know, I'm a rapper, by the way, and my passion and my drive is pushing me to kind of like figure out a way to kind of like gain that balance, as well as, you know, still to be able to, you know, have, you know, time to do the business everyday tasks that I have to do because I have to be the worker, the face, the cleaning guy, the everything else. And so a lot of times it takes away from my artistry. And so what type of advice can you give me on that?
That's a really good question. And I would say that it's hard when you're a creative and a business person at the same time, because I could tell you do both, right? Yeah. And you seem like you're probably a really great business person. I don't know about your rapping skills yet. But what I would say is with anything creative, it's a everyday practice. So it's hard to just do it here and do it there. You got to really like focus in on that. And also the other thing I like to tell people is like, pick one thing to really hone in on, because you can't be great at many things at the same time, right? And so you really want to, it's like a jack of all trades, a master of none, right? And you really want to get which something down first so that it can, so then you have more leverage to do what you really, like the next step on that. So I would say like hone in on one of the two things that you're doing. You already have a space, so you have that up and running. So you really can't just like abandon that, right? You want to make sure you make money in that space. You want to make sure you're developing the talent and stuff, but that space is also there for you. You just got to put in that little extra time. But I think it's about focusing in and making sure that you have something up and running first before you switch to the next thing.
Yeah. We just want to say thank you for tuning into the What Drives Her panel discussion, and we hope you all collected some gems that these ladies dropped for us today.